Happy hour!
Yay!
Hey, everybody's favorite time of the TTRPG world where we can enjoy a tasty beverage, talk some nonsense with our compadres,
Or
and
two.
well, I mean, there's no limit here. We're just going to start off with one. But eventually we'll get around to talking some interesting, semi interesting, maybe ignorable TTRPG type topic yeah, for posterity's sake. But in the meantime, we still have some announcements. We should go back over all of the announcements, beep, 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 announcements that we had last week. Just to remind everybody, we have recorded a really cool 10 Candles episode with the help of our friends at Alter's Den Adventures. And the first episode is now on our Patreon. Just get in, get some early access. All it takes is a $10 commitment, and you can get in there, check out episode 1 in all its glory. It'll be up on our YouTube in a couple of weeks. But the early 2-week crowd access. You don't have to fight anybody. You don't have to stand in line. Get in there, get it right now. And if you want to get in there and you do that, I will still send out a Rook's Red Cup. You will have to ask for a Pitch Militia t-shirt, though. Those are much more in demand. Sorry, Rook. But the Rook's Red Cup, automatic qualifier. Anybody that joins our Patreon.
You do not get a puppy, though, unfortunately.
It may be.
Rick's keeping them all.
Depends on how bad the puppy's been lately. Get that sucker out of here, too. I ain't got time for this shit. But what I do have time for is having a good time. And we know that hit points are not required to have a good time, but there are a lot of supplies that will really make a world of difference in your game night. And our sponsor, Pangea Gaming, has a ton of those in stock. TTRPG materials like source books, handbooks, monster manuals. Hey, if it's printed, they can probably get you reading, whether it's D&D, Pathfinder, Call of Cthulhu, whatever you're into. I'm sure they have a source book or a handbook or something to get you going. They also have tons of other things like dice, painted and unpainted miniatures, and the supplies to paint those unpainted miniatures. So just combo those together and you will have a good time with a painting party at your table. We should do that. That should be our next thing. We're going to have a painting party. Maybe we'll add that to our Patreon. So people out there, if you want, get in on our Patreon and we will have a painting party with you.
Oh my.
That's a big promise. I don't think I've ever painted a mini myself, actually.
Hey,
I feel like I would be really bad at it.
Join our Patreon and get to witness Violet's first time messing up painting a miniature. But
guaranteed disaster.
Pangea Gaming for a second. I don't want to be remiss. I want to let you know they will ship both domestically and internationally. So we can send it overseas to wherever you are. You don't have to come to us. We come to you. Yay!
Yay! Always better to buy from these smaller game stores rather than huge chains. So wherever you are, if you don't have a little game store near you, just buy from Pangea.
Yeah. Even if you do, buy from Pangea.
Pangea anyway, yeah.
It'll help us out. It'll help you out. We'll build a community together. And hey, we're making the world a little bit of a smaller place. That's what we're doing. One more announcement before we get into total and utter nonsense. Make sure that May 14th is circled on your calendar. Red marker circling. If people still do that, no, they probably don't. But put it on your calendar. Have a pop-up reminder. Do whatever it takes. You will be able to catch a band of misfits doing whatever the house asks without asking questions.
In theory.
We have our battle music out also on our Patreon right now. So if you want to get pumped up for watching a TTRPG or any old thing, whatever, it's good. Pump up music, maybe work out to it. I don't know. It's there. So feel free, check it out, enjoy yourselves. And with that, and no further ado, how y'all doing?
Yes.
Okay.
right.
You know,
We're
well,
just swimming here in Kentucky. Everybody
yes.
is swimming. The whole state.
I may have to make a new cup that's called Brooks Bail Out the Bog.
I was say more like a bucket than a cup.
Or
You can-
a floaty for the red cup, right?
Yeah.
A floaty for the red cup would probably be useful right now.
Bog floaty. I'm not sure how many floaties are used in bogs, but hey, yeah, we can make it work. We can certainly
Why not?
figure it out.
The Ohio River is now rising to levels that is coming up onto the interstate.
Oh shit.
You can imagine the interstate was not close to the ground. It was not built that way. Not the interstate itself, but a lot of the entry and exit ramps along the river in Louisville are like completely underwater. It's pretty crazy.
Sounds like a good time to own a fan boat.
There are towns here that are 5 and 6, 8 feet underwater, like the whole town.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Hope they have water breathing cast on them at least once every 24-hour period.
That's right. It's important.
It is. It is. You know, maybe if they hop on the campaign, or if they look up, maybe Pangea Gaming has some boats, miniatures, or whatever that would go well, and you can like go outside and take pictures of like the boat on the on ramp to the highway, and you know you get the perspective right. It would look really cool.
Sure, that's hopeful for so many Kentuckians right now.
You know, sometimes you just have to make lemonade, right?
Isn't that very realistic ocean campaign with your boat minis outside in Kentucky?
Yeah, you know, it's I mean, sure, there are probably other things they would prefer to have, but
probably, yeah.
I like to set achievable bars and goals, and that feels like an achievable goal. So, tell a few stories. You know, maybe your seafaring campaign is a post-apocalyptic. The waters have reclaimed the planet,
like a water world situation.
Exactly, and so yeah, it would be.
That was a great movie.
It was long. It was long, Mr. Costner.
Universally admired, yes.
Hey, look, it probably would not be in my top 200 movies of all time, but I applaud them for taking a chance. They're like, hey, we want to do this thing and go out there and try something. And that's great. I mean, experiments are wonderful. They don't always pan out, and it doesn't matter whether they pan out. It matters that you try and do new things and be a little avant-garde. And they certainly did.
I don't know what that means.
It's okay. It's all right. You know, we'll give you a pass on not knowing things.
Go to our Discord and explain avant-garde to Ruth.
Yes, please.
Please do.
But no, I like when people take chances. I mean, I say the same thing about WandaVision. Didn't work for me, but they took chances and they tried something different. And hey, it's great. I applaud them for that. Speaking of, I have been watching, God, what's it called? Amazon Prime new series out right now about basically a bail bondsman. I don't know. I forget the exact title of it, but it's starring Kevin Bacon as this guy who has to do a bail bondsman, right? That's sort of what he does. He gets killed and brought back by the devil to hunt down escaped demons. So he's basically doing the same thing with demons, right?
Interesting.
Yeah, not like it's not exactly great, like the best story.
It's not like a masterpiece, but you know, fun TV.
The Fall Guy meets Ghost Rider.
It's a fun watch. They're like 30-minute episodes, so it's pretty easy, pretty quick to binge. And it not only has, Kevin Bacon, who I've not seen in forever doing stuff, and he has a few times where he sings and does a little bit going on. It's Kevin Bacon. But it also, for you Justified fans, has probably a top 3 or 4 fan favorite in there. Dewey Crow is
Dewey Crow.
Dewey Crow is the it's sort of like the foil. I don't say nemesis, right? It's just like the guy that keeps getting in the way, doing stupid shit. That he has to that Kevin Bacon's character has to deal with. But I recommend it. Go check it out. It's a easy binge, easy watch. Don't have to really pay attention to it or anything. Not like some of the Apple TV stuff out there, but it's Amazon Prime. It's all right. It's all right.
Don't get me started.
Yeah.
Where you're like Apple TV shows. I'm like, don't start. No, I will never stop talking about Severance if I start. It's the only thing I ever want to talk about. But also you can't because spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the one wearing a Lumen macro data refinement shirt, so.
Yeah, I actually, this is so dumb, because I have like a small group of friends that we like watch Severance together and chat about it, and we designed a Lumen macro data refinement t-shirt ourselves.
Somebody very not happy with Lumen macro
Somebody
data
just
refinement.
came home and
I don't know, I think can we get you a mic check over there? We might have lost your mic.
oh, I turned it off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
I had
I
two
thought so.
raging chihuahuas.
Yeah, well, I mean, but
One of which jumped out of my hands suicidally from the massive height that he was at.
Just throwing himself to the ground.
When you have short legs, everything is a massive height. Ask my corgi when he
Just
could
gotta
fall.
go for it.
Yeah.
Just gotta live your life.
Right? But they always think they can go really far. I'm gonna fly 2 inches. Aspirations. It's
My
good to
cat,
have.
on the other hand, is always shocking how far she can go. It's just like, she was over there, now she's over there. I didn't see what happened in between.
That's when cats learn how to cast Misty Step. That's
Exactly. Yep. That is exactly it.
Oh.
This spoiled ass dog is now sitting here staring at me like, are you gonna pick me back up and hold me again? I was sleeping, yo. No, man. You got down, fam. You gotta go. You gotta go.
Oh my.
You better crawl under the covers, get yourself warm.
Oh god.
Needs his own needs his Rook's Red Bull is what he needs.
Oh yes. That'd be so cute.
With a tasty beverage to keep him warm. That's next. If y'all want that, let me know. Go to the Discord. Let me know. I will see what I can do. Oh my.
That is nuts. That is not the idea we need.
Please only put water.
However, I wouldn't mind drinking out of Rook's Red Bull.
I knew that's where that was going. Then you wouldn't need 2 cups. It's just the one bowl.
I can see a big old bowl with a straw out of it. I mean, it would have to be, because otherwise it would spill too much, and that's like sacrilege, right? There.
Like a fishbowl cocktail kind of thing. Like.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what you're talking about. What is that? A fishbowl cocktail? I've never had one of those.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
I am.
I thought so.
Trying to think. I had once when I remember the place in college had those things, and normally the places I went to in college were more the old school traditional sort of places. But one time some friends wanted to go and go out there, and I'm like, what the hell is a blue fishbowl? And it tasted exactly the way I would have expected and imagined that it tastes, like somebody had poured a bunch of sugar in there rather than an actual alcoholic beverage.
Tasted like vodka and blue Caracal is what it tasted like.
Right?
I used to have a friend who actually would make them. She got like special glasses that were like the big bowl thing. And like in the summer, we would all hang out at her place and she would make like a bunch of fishbowl drinks. And we would just drink them all night.
How did you feel about drinking those?
I felt fine when I was drinking them.
Okay. The sugar high afterwards.
The next
Crash
day,
down.
not as much, but that's definitely a headache-inducing kind of situation.
When I was
Yeah.
doing team trivia every week back in the day, I used to drink raspberry Long Island iced teas. So, like, instead of Coke, they would put Chambord in it to give it that raspberry
Interesting.
and, red coloring or, pinkish purplish coloring.
Rook's red iced tea, basically.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Match the cup. Good to go.
That used to be my every Monday night gig.
And years later, still got an every Monday night gig that involves a red vessel of beverage somehow, somewhere, some way. It's good to see that you keep traditions alive.
Man, they had the best beer, cheese, and pretzels there too. Oh, so good.
Well, there's a place around the corner from me that does that really good. I haven't been there in a while, though. Now I feel like I have to go.
Yeah.
Reminded me of it.
Do they take reservations? Can I get one for an hour and a half from now? Beer, cheese, and pretzels.
Yeah, like our group, I should say, we were so regular there, and it was the same server serving the trivia area of this bar, but we were so regular there, I didn't even order ever. Like, I just walked in and sat down, and she would begin bringing me one of the very many raspberry Long Island iced teas that I was going to consume for the evening, and put my chicken. What would you? It's like a bacon cheeseburger, but with grilled chicken instead of whatever you want to call that. But
Bacon chicken ranch
chicken burger. My order would always just be brought to me. I never even ordered.
Being a regular at a place is so nice. I used to live next door to a diner, and we used to go and pop in there all the time because it was literally next door, and it was a very had been around forever. Like, the people who worked there had been there forever. There were always these old guys at the counter who eat most of their meals at the diner, just very classic diner kind of place. And yeah, we would go in and they'd just be like, yeah, do you want, you want usual, something different? Be like, no, just usual. It just was great. So nice. I miss that place so much.
It is nice. I have some spots that I go to, and you walk in, and yeah, okay, there it is. Yeah, sure, you want that? They have coffee already on the table. It's convenient, but it's also nice to switch up your order every once in a while, and then it confuses them, and that's also a great feeling.
Then they're like, "What are you doing? What's going on?"
Now the other one is in here begging for attention, y'all.
That's a glimpse into Rook's life. There is always one Chihuahua begging for attention.
Yeah, minimum one Chihuahua.
Usually both at the same time. Should have closed the door to this room before we started this stream.
That's the level of professionalism.
Mm-hmm.
Not closing the
level
door.
of professionalism that you can enjoy every Monday night here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've come to expect. It's like our regular order. It's basically what it is.
Yep. Very true.
Oh, but yeah, these things can be good. They can be neutral sometimes. You know, very rarely are they.
Where might you be going with this, Chuck?
Oh, I feel like this may be a segue.
Maybe.
But in
Oh, we're talking
TBS
about serious shit. I'll be back.
That's all right.
Attending to the dogs.
I was going to open this this segment talking about the history of the of alignments in D&D. So this is a bit of a history lesson for those of you that are not up on it. There will be a quiz at the end of the thing. So please take notes and pay attention. Starting back with the white box set, the original set of Dungeons and Dragons, 1974, I believe. There were 3 alignments. You could be lawful, you could be neutral, you could be chaotic, right? That's all you had. They really didn't even think about good and evil. It was kind of a miniatures game. It was not a lot of role play per se. It was more a miniature warfare game. So you were there to beat up some monsters, maybe beat up other armies or whatever, mostly monsters. And so it really didn't matter good or evil. You were just, I guess it was whether you're chaotic or whether you wanted to obey laws.
It's kind of more like your side and the other side. It didn't really matter whether you're good or evil.
I mean, there really wasn't too much to do with there. In was it 77 when they came out with the basic set? They expanded those a little bit, and you had lawful good, lawful evil, chaotic good, and chaotic evil. Nobody was allowed to be neutral. You had to choose one of those formats there. That was what you had. It wasn't until AD&D came out in 79 that they introduced the 2 axes and the 3 options on each axis that we know now with with our lawful, chaotic, neutral, and our good, neutral, evil, and decide where you plot this on this axis and that on that axis, and we'll make a graph and all that. There was a brief departure. Brooke, when was what was 4th edition? Was that 08?
Gosh, wow. Let me think about it for a minute. It came out when I was, yes, it was right around 08.
Yeah.
It was right around 08 because I left Kentucky in 2005. 2005. So, yeah.
Do you remember the alignments that they experimented with in 4th edition?
Shit, I sure don't.
All right, I'll tell you. They had they went with good, lawful good, evil, chaotic evil, or unaligned. Those were your choices. They skinnied it down. They said, hey, we don't need this 2 axes graph or anything like that. You're either good, asshole good, and you're going to play a paladin, so you're lawful good. You're either kind of evil or like super evil. Nobody knows what the hell you're going to do, chaotic evil, or you just don't unaligned. You don't belong. You don't fit in anywhere. You don't fit in at school. You don't.
Very mixed feelings about that.
Right. It did not last long because it was it was 08. If I'm right about that, it was 08 to 14 when 5th edition came out, and both the 14 and the 24 edition of 5th edition version of 5th edition, whatever we're calling, however we're using our nomenclature here, they both went with the 9 square 2 axes version as we know it today. And that's sort of where alignment has been over the years. But I ask you now, is there really a reason for it? Do we need that? Do we need that box on our sheet anymore? What does that do for you during character creation, during gameplay? How are you finding that used? How do you use it as a DM? answer any one of the above questions in whatever order you particularly feel like it.
Well, I think the history part is interesting because I didn't know about all of those variants. And I don't like that version of the like lawful good, unaligned, evil, chaotic evil. Like the way that lawful and chaotic are divided there is very weird to me. I do like collapsing neutral down to just unaligned, because chaotic and lawful and true neutral, like chaotic neutral, lawful neutral, true neutral, I don't know what the fuck that's even supposed to mean. Like I feel like those are the hardest ones to define and the least useful. So collapsing all of neutrality down to just like unaligned feels fine to me and probably more practical. But the rest of it is weird. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, I do find it weird that they define, okay, this spectrum, good can be either regular or lawful, but evil can't be lawful, right? You know,
yeah, that's one of the weirdest things about it to me, because lawful evil to me, I feel like that is one of the alignments that I, at least for myself, have the clearest idea in my head of what I think of as lawful evil. To me, it feels like I get that concept like pretty well, more than some other alignments. So to like not even include that is very strange to me.
I mean, yeah, a lot of stuff in 4th edition was really strange.
Yeah.
So let's not put that out there. But I think the bigger topic, and the way I'm getting at it, the way I think of things, I never check that box. I never put anything in that box. I don't ever think of my characters in terms of alignment. I think of them as in terms of people. And it's like, hey, I could talk behind my back about my friends and whatever, and I will tell you some good things and some bad things, but I'm never going to be like, oh man, they're lawful evil people, right? That's just not how you think of individual people. And I think, another history lesson, back in the day, it was harder. Like it was almost impossible to change your alignment in the box set. And then there were a bunch of rules in like 1st and 2nd edition of things you had to do.
In 2nd edition, didn't you like lose a level or something?
You lost experience, yeah.
You lost experience if you change your alignment. Ems wants to know about the justified evil alignment. Can we talk a little bit about that? Justified evil.
Is this a reference to the TV show? Are we justified
the idea?
In being evil?
Yeah, right.
It was justified.
It was justified. That's a thing.
Yeah. So Ems, welcome in. Glad to have you with us. I personally, we could circle back to last week for a second. I personally don't do good and evil either. I don't believe in the existence of characters strictly good, strictly evil, and well, they were evil, but they were justified in their actions, which is, I think, where you're.
But if it was justified, was it evil? Like, I mean, that's the question, and I feel like this is where
Raylan doesn't think so.
Right? The difference between the way Rook often talks about lawful evil and the way that I don't really agree about it, because I feel like the way you describe it is very like justified evil. Like it's like being capable of doing evil things under certain circumstances. But I feel like if there's that justification, it's not necessarily good, but it's not necessarily evil either, if there's like a genuine justification.
So going back to last week when I was talking about, hey, we came upon this bugbear village in a D&D campaign that I was playing once, and there were 2 bugbears taking the trash from one cave to another cave, and we executed them and then proceeded to animate their corpses and use them to scare off the rest of the bugbear village so we could steal all their shit. Well, Clouds and I were talking a little bit after the stream last week, and I said, remind me to bring this up again, because that was not the worst shit we did in that campaign. So at one point, we had just hit level 9, and as we all know, level 9 means 5th level spells, right? And we were in the middle of a cave, in the middle of the wilderness, and there's a portal. We had no idea where this portal went. The DM clearly wanted us to go in the portal. We absolutely did not want to go because we wanted to figure out where the hell the portal went first. That seems reasonable, right? And we wanted to go back to town and get some 5th level spells. So we weren't going to go. Well, there was a guy that was in the group who wasn't there that week. And the DM had him put his hand in the portal, and he couldn't pull it back out.
That's some Gale shit there.
Our fighter immediately, no hesitation, immediately was like, I can solve this, pulls out his greatsword and goes to whack the guy's arm off. DM's like, oh, we can't do this. So he has the guy jump through the portal. We're like, well, I guess he's gone. And we all turn around and start walking out of the cave.
It's an interesting way to solve that. I might have done some sort of collapse behind you of wherever you are. There's ways
there. So he starts flooding the cave. Well, I had a beat of force. So as the cave starts flooding, I put us all in this cube of force, right? The water finally resides. I had cast water breathing on all of us in the interim. And we all swam out of the cave anyway. He was like, geez, this is so bad. So anyway, long story short, he forces us to go through this portal. At some point, we came to a compromise in between sessions. We go through the portal, right? And when we get to the other side, he's got this storyline that's basically the first NPC we encounter says, if you all help me deal with this vampire, then I will help you all get home. I will help you go research. I'll give you access to a library to go research plane shift. You all can go back home, back to your plane. Cool. So we go deal with the vampire. Then there's another quest. Then there's another quest. And they keep stringing us along, this group of people. Well, one of the quests involved going to this other place where it was basically like a, I don't know, the afterlife, whatever, spooky forest where souls of the dead and everything. If you walk off of this platinum road, then you die, right? And we had to go retrieve this holy relic or some shit deeper down the platinum road. We go get it, and on our way back, one of the other guys in our group uses item, which back in 2nd edition, item would take a spell, or take an item, an object, make it smaller. He starts rolling up the road behind us because it's platinum, right? He starts rolling up the road behind us, which makes it impossible to get back to the holy place because, whatever. And then he uses fabricate to turn this thing into a dragon, and then like a big platinum dragon like statue. Then he shrinks it down, puts it in his bag of holding. So we've got this holy road that we turned into a statue, and we just dropped it in our castle when we got back to our home. Pretty funny.
And how does this make you
Is that
lawful
evil
instead of chaotic?
What part?
I mean, no.
I have to say, that is the most literally railroaded game I have ever.
Yeah.
Well, and it wasn't that we played this campaign for years, right? To get to level 9 in the first place. And that was the end of the campaign because not only did he force us to go where we didn't want to go to begin with, but then he wouldn't give us the opportunity to research. We didn't even care where we were, but he wouldn't give us the opportunity to get 5th level spells, which sucked. Right? Like we had 5th level spell slots, but we couldn't even use them because we couldn't go get spells.
Not great. But in terms of alignment, the question really becomes, and I think this is a great example. Did it really make a difference? If you consider yourselves good or evil or chaotic or lawful, did you have to declare that at some point in time? And then, well, I'm not okay with dude rolling up a road to a holy place because that's too chaotic for me, and I am lawful, right? I mean, you just do the things and things that make sense and seem like they are at the time. And if you change your personality dictates you change alignment, okay, well then things have changed in your life. I mean, I'm much more lawful as an individual now than I was 20 years ago. I will tell you that.
I would say it's probably the same for. I think that's pretty much everybody. I think tends to gravitate that direction.
I don't know that that's necessarily
in the
true.
scheme of their lives. You don't think so?
No, I think some people do for sure, but I don't think everyone.
We have prison systems full of people that might disagree with that point, sir. But the point being, my question is: do you find during character creation the choose an alignment and think in those terms to be helpful? Do you find in gameplay for it to be helpful? Do you find as a DM, hey, I can give this item or I could do things, and does that even come into play for you anymore? Like it used to. There used to be things that affected people based on alignment.
I very recently had that come up in a game, actually, where there was an item that the way people interacted with it and the way it affected them was different based on their alignment. It was like a portal to like an evil demon realm or something like that was encased in like a stone that could be like unlocked and whatever. And the stone,
that sounds nice.
Yeah, super fun. The stone basically, like, if you were evil, I think if you were evil or neutral, it might have been just if you were evil, you couldn't move it. Like you couldn't pick it up, you couldn't move it at all. If you were neutral, you technically could, but it was super, super, super heavy. And if you were good, you could move it, and it was like heavy, but like a heavy stone. Like it was not like ridiculous heavy. And so, and I think it was even lawful good. It was a little bit better too than being a different good alignment. So, and also if you were evil, if you were within a certain proximity of it, you would have some like particular desire to unlock the gate, because it had that like evil, the evil of the object had influence over you. However, an interesting thing about this, though, was that the way the DM handled it was not like, let me look at your sheet and see what you designated as your alignment. He just kind of basically played it out in the role play based on our characters and the way we'd been role playing our characters.
Mm-hmm.
Ask us to tell him what is your alignment, so I know how to do this. He just is like, based on the things you have done, this is the way this item would react to you. Sure. He just interpreted the characters from the way we played them rather than, and we wound up having conversations about it. It was an interesting kind of conversation starter when we found out that was how it worked. That, you know, to sort of see like what he was kind of like, well, I see your character as, you know, sort of more like neutral, and I see your character as more lawful good, and yours is more chaotic good, and talking about how like that matched or didn't match the way we saw our own characters. And yeah, it was and that's kind of, I think, what it comes down to for me with alignment is it's an interesting like thing to think about, but not necessarily to like nail down. Like I don't feel like I need to write in on my sheet like this character is this alignment. But I do sometimes find it useful to think about like, you know, does my character have some particular kind of, you know, set of rules that they follow? How do they make moral decisions? You know, what would they do in certain kinds of situations? It's just a way of thinking about developing my character, especially when you think about how they're interacting with other people in the party and how the party's going to make collective decisions where they agree and disagree. But I don't feel like it's something that I need to have like locked in as like a defined part of my character that's written on their sheet. I don't think I've ever written it on the sheet.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't even think about it in those terms, but also I like that experiment where, hey, this thing is going to react differently to different people, but based on the way they do it. But I mean, I would say even from a point of, well, this is evil, so it's going to appeal and draw this type of character in. Well, I mean, not all evil is the same, right? A lot of evil doesn't mesh together. So if there's something, if your particular personality resonates with the creator of that, because I will say I'm much happier in scenarios where the evil creature thinks of themselves as the good guy. right? They're not thinking, hey, I'm the evil whatever over here. I'm, even demons or devils, right? They have motives and whatever. They're trying to achieve something in their lives and not just be going around, oh, I'm the evil dude.
Well, the character that
I'm the evil guy.
That's what they're like. That's how you can spot evil people. But it's funny because there was no one in the party was evil, because again, this is something also that DM does. Again, he does not require people to like nail down a specific alignment, but as like a general point of reference, he requires all the party members to be good, in a general sense, just so they have like a common sense of what they should be doing, just to sort of get everyone on the same page. But there was an NPC though that was traveling with us at the time who was not. He was sort of complicated, but it would be too long to explain what this guy's deal was.
Complicated. We got it. There's a drop down point. We're good.
But the stone was influencing him. He was the only one who had that like call to activate the stone. But it wasn't like it completely took over his brain. Like it was, he would constantly be like, maybe I should carry the stone instead. And we'd be like, we already explained this to you. You couldn't even carry it if you wanted to. It doesn't work for you. And he's like, yeah, okay, yep, you're right. And then 10 minutes later, he'd be like, are you sure you don't want me to carry that? Oh, I forgot. Sorry, I forgot. Like he just had this like compulsion to like, he felt like he was supposed to have it. It was just like this thing like nipping at the back of his mind. It was really fun.
Hey, we're camping down for the evening. Can I just take a look at it again?
Right?
I mean,
like, God damn it, Todd! No.
But
it's very frustrating.
But yeah, I mean, that's another thing you bring up. Hey, well, this is the party in general wants to do something. I think party alignment is kind of important to discuss and go over, so that everybody knows. Hey,
when would you do that? When would be the best time? To do that?
Depends on how thirsty you are. Are you thirsty?
When do you think?
When do you think would be a good time to discuss party alignment?
See, now that you create a drinking game and people know the rules,
it's definitely a session 0 topic.
Right? Oh, look who's talking about session 0. Cheers to that. But no, the important part is, how is the party going to deal with things in this universe on a general level? And it doesn't have to be all that specific. Yeah, generally on the kind of good side, but we're generally on the kind of evil side. You're not giving a crap about other people and whatever's good for us in the interim. I think that makes decision making and how you handle stuff a lot easier, and things don't get as fractured in terms of storytelling, right? It can be, unless you want that to be the crux of your storytelling, and then by all means, go for it. You could also discuss that during a session 0. But but no, the having an idea of who your character is and what they would do, and then also going through and experiencing things. And I think 10 Candles did an excellent job of that as a system, does an excellent job of that. Hey, here's your brink. When you're going to be experiencing madness. Here is what you are capable of when pushed to the limits. And I think that is, a more interesting thing to think about with your character. I like to, Rook knows that we talk about this for years now. I like to start with, how did my character fuck up? Why are they a fuck up? What did they screw up in their lives, and what are they messed up for doing? But in addition to that, what are they capable of doing in order to try and fix that fuck up or get back to someplace else in their lives? What motivates them, and how far are they willing to go? And when they've gone too far and nothing else matters, what are they capable of? I think those are great questions to ask and plan for you about your characters. So as things happen, you can know. Rook and I were in a campaign where we basically lost 6 months of time, and we started learning the things that we had done, which were not great things in that 6 months. And it was interesting to see how the different people dealt with that. The people that were there for more storytelling stuff. Oh shit, we need to go over this and talk about this and figure some of this stuff out, and how do we think about stuff, and how does that change our relations to stuff. And some people were like, oh yeah, that's cool. What magic items did we acquire in the meantime?
Just give me the loot list, all right?
No, it's
Let's move this along.
literally it became a point of contention in character between some of our characters that we actually had this wizard's tower essentially full of all types of legendary items and everything like that. And some of us were like, yeah, that's fruit of the poisonous tree. We got that because of all this shit, and it's just, let's just burn down the tower. Let's get rid of it.
Mhm.
And do all, no, we can't do that. We need to save the stuff. We haven't explored and figured out what all this goodies are yet. And it's makes for interesting points when
some others of us were like, nope, don't care.
You know,
Which, like, even, I mean, that's not necessarily an out of character response. You know what I mean? Some characters, that may just be their attitude is more pragmatic and like, I don't care how it got here. We have it now, so let's use it. I mean, you know, it can be, I don't know, it can be just different character perspectives, which sometimes I think leads to really interesting like conversations and things and arguments like in character that can play out. But if it, you know, gets into just totally different play styles and people wanting different things from the game, if someone's just like, yeah, I just don't really care, I just want to have this cool item,
right?
Then it can, if you have different priorities as players, that can be potentially more of a problem.
Yeah, but I think they can work out as long as you're willing to make concessions, right?
Yeah.
You can be like the guy, hey, I just want to have these really cool items. Okay, great. Well, you know, they're about to burn down the tower. Here's an opportunity for you to sneak out with 3 items. And for the next, 6 months we play this campaign, you sit there and you're playing with and using these items, and then finally it comes out. And what's the reaction between your characters, right? You can do that and experience that, find ways. And as a DM, if you can work that and make everybody happy and build up to an interesting RP moment like that, it's I think it's a fantastic possibility, fantastic thing to have happen. So yeah, I think you can make all that stuff work in terms of the setting. But does that make the character who wants to keep the stuff, even though say it's 5 people in the party and 4 people want to burn down the tower, 1 person wants to keep the stuff, does that make them good, evil, chaotic? I don't think that necessarily stamps their character. But if you're going to, the normally lawful character wants to steal some stuff out of there and secret it away for a while, it's a chaotic action, but that doesn't make them a chaotic. It just means that they're capable of doing chaotic things. And you need to know, hey, in these times, in this scenario, I'm more interested in this, and that's what wins right now for this character. So
yeah, and I think that one of the things that is important if you are using alignment, which is fine, it's not like bad to use alignment for your character, but is for there to be some flexibility, like not just arbitrarily out of nowhere being like, I'm evil now, but like to allow yourself to respond to events that happen. If a situation comes up that you didn't anticipate and you start to feel like, I think my character might do this, like it's okay for your character to change. It's very, very good actually for your character to change over the course of things that happen to them. Your character might become more lawful or more chaotic or more evil or more good because of things that they experience, might change their perspective on the world, change their understanding of how their actions affect people. Like there's lots of things. I mean, in a D&D game, you're doing a lot of major stuff. Like you're doing a lot of big things. Like there's killing and death, there's saving lives, there's saving the world. There's like all kinds of shit that happens. It's pretty big. And it
burning down a bugbear village.
It makes sense for those things to have a significant impact on the person. It doesn't have to. Maybe your person's just like, I don't care. I mean, no matter what happens, I'm never going to change my perspective. But like it's I think it's more fun, not necessarily to have a super dramatic change in your character, but to see your character evolve over the course of a long campaign, and just see who they become by the end. And yeah, so there, even if you are playing with alignment, there should always be room for that to shift.
Rook, what do you think? Do you write down? Do you automatically? Does every character sheet that you create have lawful evil already
Pre-printed on
it before
Yes.
you start filling in everything else?
It's like a custom letterhead kind of thing. It's like lawful evil on it.
But actually, that brings up another interesting point.
Unless I'm going to play a Kender, and then I'm probably chaotic good.
Why?
Because when I play that halfling, I play every halfling character that I have as fairly Kinderish. If you understand the difference between Dragonlance halflings and other fantasy halfling, but I don't know, because then that's my one outlet to kind of allow chaos into my life because I hate it so much.
Yeah. But I think the more interesting point, and one of the bigger reasons I think we can easily do away from having alignments existing in the game, is because it means something different to everyone anyway.
For sure.
Like Rook will say, my character is lawful evil, but I'm running the stone portal and it doesn't agree and it doesn't care and it's not going to act like he's lawful evil because he may feel that way about himself, but my view of the universe or my view of this stone doesn't feel that way about the XYZ character and his trash fixation. Sorry, folks at home. That is a lost episode in the Hit Points Not Required archive. You will never get to see. What was their name again? Eugene. They never get to see Eugene writing trash citations, nor Omis just throwing trash everywhere and
sanitation paladin.
Waste management. I my patron deity, whatever. My deity was waste management. Oath of the Crown, baby.
Which is actually an interesting point that I was thinking about, is the relevance of alignment to specifically like paladin and cleric character, like characters that are tied to deities. Because like, yes, of course we can sit here all day and talk about how like alignments are kind of like ridiculous and overly simplistic and nonsense to try to apply to like real people. But there are plenty of things in D&D that are not real. And like the way that a D&D pantheon exists and interacts with people through clerics and paladins and things like that is not something that has an analog in real life. So I think it's interesting to think about like how might it be more significant or at least have a different role for a character who is playing like say a cleric, and it's like, well, who is your deity and what do they stand for, what do they represent, and how important is it for you to align with that?
Who is your deity and what does he do?
I think that's a very interesting question in my personal worldview. Your deity has stuff and stands for stuff, but they're not black and white and 100% all the time. They have, in my mind, they have almost unfathomable goals and ways of achieving them, and they can call themselves good, but they're fine with you burning down a village in order to gain.
Well, I think that's what it comes down to more so, because yeah, absolutely, especially if you're playing deities in an interesting, cool way, they should be complicated and weird, but what do they expect from you? I think is a little bit different.
And are they only going to have people that have their exact same, which they know they can't because they're unfathomable, they're gods, you're not going to be able to understand them, so they're going to have an array of people, and those are just tools for the most part. Okay, yeah, no, you're nice, you pray with me, we talk every once in a while and all that. I don't like when you go out and gamble, but hey, you do these other good things that are for me, so I'm going to look the other way on that. I'm not going to be so upset about that. right?
But they
And
don't necessarily, like what
they could.
are there lines that you can cross that
Mhm.
will cause your deity to cut you off, like
Well,
like are
well,
there terms of the deal basically, and how might those like
would those be
involve
in
in alignment,
But would those be an alignment thing or just a personal thing? Like, hey, it's not like there could be two people that are lawful evil alignment, but one is approved by a lawful evil God, and one is not because of who they are and what they do and how they approach stuff, right? I don't think again alignment is necessarily the one-on-one tool for gods and for patrons and whatever, right? Those are just entities with goals, and they may be one of their goals may be to have a big flock, of followers, and they try and do stuff and they try and make life easier, and the goals of humanity, or if we don't want to call it humanity, just sentient creatures living in the world might align with those goals at least for a time, and it might not. But I don't know that again needs to be in a certain alignment. Like this deity will only accept people from this patron will only accept people. Whatever you need to check these boxes on a sheet in order for that. I think that's too rigid.
I think
You.
when I play a cleric, especially, I think that choosing a deity is a big deal, right? And I really, really dive into why did either the deity choose my character or why did my character choose the deity. I think it's a very, very important piece of the character's backstory, obviously, right? But more importantly, like you said, where do those lines cross and where do they separate? Where do the roads cross and where do they separate from each other?
And
and
you
what does
don't
that
have
relationship look like?
And as a holy person, whether it's a cleric or a paladin or whatever, of the holy entities, you don't have to have the greatest relationship with your God. It could be it's complicated. It's a valid relationship with a God. It doesn't. Hey,
I think and this doesn't have to, as you said, doesn't have to use alignment at all. I think it sometimes does because it's kind of like a shortcut in some ways, like rather than building out like something more complex and elaborate, to just be like, well, they want you to be this alignment, so things that you do that deviate from that alignment make them not happy. Like that, it's just kind of like I don't know, it's an easy way out for handling that, but God, now I lost my train of thought.
It's complicated.
It is complicated. Yes. I don't know what I was going to say. Oh, well.
All right. Well, I'm sure we'll circle back to it. You'll remember it eventually.
Session 0.
I think
oh, I remembered now. It was I think part of me, both as a player and as a DM, wants those sort of cleric paladin kind of relationships with a deity to be not entirely, but a little bit more like a warlock, like a little bit more like what's actually the deal here? Like, what do you get from this? What do they get from this? Why does this relationship exist? And what can potentially break it? Like, yeah, what lines are you not supposed to cross? Depending on your deity and just their overall nature. Like, some may be much more flexible than others. Some may be very rigid in that, like, you one step out of line and your powers are gone, fuck you. Others might be just sort of like, well, as long as you're like kind of generally doing like this sort of thing, that's fine. But I like for those things to matter, for there to be a way for that relationship to go wrong. Like when you are playing a character whose powers have been given to you by someone else for a reason, I feel like there should be a way for that to go bad, potentially. And having some sense of like, yeah, what those parameters are.
Yeah, there should be. And I think contentious relationships with deities, with I mean, it's expected. It's almost like, hey, it's expected as a warlock. You're going to have a contentious relationship with
It
there.
should be
But
expected as a warlock.
well, I mean,
Some
for a
people don't,
while,
and it makes me mad.
I think, but I think it's also expected that as a holy character with a god involved, that it's almost like, oh well, we're on the same page, and that's the nice way to go. When in reality, I think it's the same for either one. I think there's a very similar respect, and it's better if you have a somewhat questionable, contentious relationship with a god, because especially in D&D, gods are so complicated to. I have this great relationship with a god. Why don't I just ask them to fix the problem? Why don't I just ask them to give me a straight answer about the question? Why are they giving me these weird visions and obsequious directions on I don't know what the hell. Just tell me straight up. I need you to go to the store and get eggs and milk and bread. No, can't do that. You got to give me a dream about chickens and cows, and I'm supposed to get from that. I need to go and get the milk and the eggs. It's tough to do, and if you have the opportunity to talk to the god, it can't give you the straight answer, because okay, now we're done with the campaign, great, you just got all the answers, you just got all the questions answered for you, right? In order to tell that interesting story, there needs to be some barrier there, and having a contentious relationship with the god, and having questions of faith come up, like, why did you allow this child to die? You're a god. You could have saved them. Why did you allow these bad things to happen? I think it's a very normal thing to have happen in a campaign and in a story, and gives you beats to work with.
And in the other direction,
contentious relationship with your god, let us know in our Discord.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, tell us the story.
But also in the other direction, where it can be reinforced. Clouds is on top of it.
Yeah.
But in the campaign I was playing in recently, I was playing a cleric. Cleric is my favorite class. And they basically had a successful divine intervention, which was like wild. It was really one of those like really incredible moments where it's just like, this, if this was a show, people would think it was scripted. Like I rolled, like I was level 11, and you have to roll your level or under and I rolled an 11. Like it was fucking ridiculous. And I had a successful divine intervention, and a couple of other things happened where just through the role play there was like a presence of the deity like there in a supportive way. And so this happened several times in a relatively short period of time. So I was like, my character, I actually asked just in the last session because we leveled, and I was like, I think I want to respec my character a little bit and maybe change their subclass, because they are feeling very different about, like, they're feeling much more devoted to their like cleric situation and relationship than they have been before, because they've started to feel a much closer connection because of some of the things that happened. So yeah, it's not even necessarily just a contentious like questioning them. You can also be drawn closer and like strengthen that connection, and that can change your character too.
Yeah. And again, it's something to think about during character creation. Do you want to have some sort of arc like this? Do you want to start off with, you have the contentious relationship right at the beginning? You don't have to start off, oh, God is great, everyone come and witness the wonders of my God. You can start off with the drunk or whatever. Yeah, I used to whatever, but does anything even really matter anymore?
But you don't have to think about that at character creation necessarily, though. It can be just something that happens as you go. Like, it's certainly not something I expected for this character at all. She was an Arcana cleric, and was very like interested in both like divine and arcane magic, and what are the differences between those things, and how can they work together, and and that sort of thing. But she's been pushed more and more towards the divine by getting all of that reinforcement from her god. Like that's now becoming a much more important part of the way she does things.
You know what it sounds like? It sounds like every time you did something that the god wanted you to do, they gave you a cookie.
That's not exactly how it happened, but they could. That would be a really fun way to DM something if it was a literal cookie.
Oh,
After you've done an approved behavior, just like appears. It's just like a very concrete, like thumbs up. You did the right thing.
Well,
or a bacon treat.
Yes, whatever the form the cookie takes, the training progresses.
Yep.
But
what's your
we
god's
have
name, Pavlov?
Whoop.
Your Toll the Dead is a little ringing bell.
We have exceeded our normal allotted time here. It is no longer happy hour. We are extended a little into bonus time. So any last thoughts from y'all on the topic or anything in general? This will be last call.
Alignment can be interesting, but it is definitely not necessary.
Not
also
required.
What the fuck is chaotic neutral? We didn't get to that, but I hate it. Everyone has different ideas about it.
I call those players trolls.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right to me.
Everyone has different ideas about most of the alignments, as
Cave
we've
trolls,
clearly
sea
discussed
trolls,
in there.
mountain trolls,
chaotic neutral I tend to think of as selfish.
Forest trolls.
Yeah, they can be selfish too. I mean, I'm not saying they can't be selfish. But
I think trolls is the correct answer. That's why you're tacking the chaotic onto it. That's troll.
I think if you play a chaotic neutral character as it's intended to be, like you said, Chuck, I think the intention of chaotic neutral is fairly selfish. You're a player that probably doesn't use the alignment system and is just playing a selfish character. But if you actually write chaotic neutral on your sheet,
my character is chaotic neutral, it's a red flag. I'm sorry, that is
you say in session 0 I'm going to be playing a chaotic neutral character, I'm going to say this is not the table for me.
Yes.
Fuck you.
Please
I'm out.
leave.
I mean,
yes.
As an example, I would say Han Solo, chaotic neutral, right? The not in it for either side. I've got debts to pay. I've got because he'll fly off the handle and do whatever I think true neutral is like, I want to stay out of everything or whatever. Chaotic neutral, hey, okay, you're making me an offer. Okay, great, I'll do this thing for you. I'm not joining your side, but hey, there's something in it for me. I'll take you to whatever Alderaan. Sure, yeah, just load them up. And
I can totally see that. That sounds totally valid to me. Rook is 100% correct that anyone that tells you they're playing chaotic neutral character, do not expect them to roll in with Han Solo, because that's not what you're gonna get.
100%. Not disagreeing with that.
You're gonna get Juan Trollo instead.
Yeah. That's and that's chaotic. Can we come up with? We did not go over lawful stupid.
Chaotic stupid, I was gonna say, is the best alignment for a one shot. Always play chaotic stupid.
Yes,
chaotic stupid. I liked Justified Evil. I'm gonna have to work my next character
let's make our
concept
own.
around
Everyone,
that.
Everybody go to Discord.
Evil. I'm
and make up your own alignments. We have chaotic stupid and justified evil to start.
I mean, Raylan
lawful
Givens
stupid is a pretty standard old school alignment as well.
Yeah, a standard paladin alignment, right?
We cannot lie. We cannot do this. No, you can't do that, buddy. I'll do whatever the fuck I want. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's not my definition of lawful good either. Although people like to have archetypes and give them stuff. But yes, at any rate, I think now is the point in time where last call has been given, last call has been served. And if somebody could please tell me what the alignments were in the not the original box edition, but in the first edition after that, pre-AD&D, I would appreciate it. Did somebody take notes on that? No, none of you.
What
No,
was the
anybody in the
question?
chat?
Session
was
zero.
distracted.
Any,
Session 0. What was the question? No, I
anybody
did
in
take
the chat? The from the basic set, the 70, what was it, 76, 77 basic set.
just lawful, neutral, and chaotic, right?
No, that was the
Or that was the first one.
yes.
Then the other one was 4. It had 4. There was no neutral.
That's
That
correct.
was fourth
lawful.
No, that's no. That the fourth edition had unaligned, which was neutral.
Yeah.
But the basic
Was it lawful and chaotic for each good and evil?
Yes.
Or was it okay? Yeah.
Yes,
Lawful, evil.
good, lawful evil, chaotic good,
Yeah,
chaotic evil.
I took notes. See, I did it.
With that, the quiz being completed, the alignments being aligned, and everything else, we would like to wish everyone good night. And remember, hit points are not required to enjoy a tasty beverage, whether it's session 0 or not.
It's gone.